And welcome everybody to the World of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Emily Gilmer, and I am a podcast engineer here, and excited to bring you another episode of Revolutionize Your Marketing with Military Marketing MA, John Petros. I've been doing here the last few months here, which we do every Friday at 4:00 p.m. Central. 5:00 Eastern, and I'd love to have you all come on as a guest or at least be in the gallery. And so let us know if you are interested, and to check out all of our social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and so on. Like, share, comment, subscribe. But without further ado, I am going to bring in John here to kick us off. Yesterday. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Emily. Good to be here again. Week after week is the way it goes. All right, folks, welcome. And if you're listening live, welcome. If you're listening on the replays, please like the videos and subscribe to my channel. And tonight I have a special guest, Steve Kent. He is in the finance literacy field. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you, John. Pleasure to be here.
Why don't we start off and let people know who you are, where you came from, and how you got to what you're doing.
Oh, okay. That's a kind of long story, but we'll give you the short version. So back, for about 32 years, I worked in corporate in the IT space. Loved what I was doing, sort of, but I was building other people's dreams and not focusing on mine. I left there in 2012, looked around, opened my own business in 2013 in the education space. Great service. Everybody who used the service loved it, but it did not work financially, because that's when I realized, as smart as I thought that I was not so much in the financial space. And that was a big piece to me not succeeding in business, going bankrupt, losing everything. And I did work my way out of it, so all is good. But the reason I ended up where I am today is I use all my experiences, both in life, reading, everything else, and being financially literate, to helping other people to not make the same financial mistakes that I made. So I formed Steve Kent Financial Services, and that's where we are today.
Okay. A little bit of knowledge building into it. That's good. What kind of finances do you help people with?
It's all the personal finances. It's around budgeting. It's around helping to understand how money works. Because if you don't understand the most basic, and the reason I do this is by design, people are never taught in school, in work, in life, how money works. And that's done by design, because the major corporations want us to be uninformed. They want us to pay more for services than we should. They want us to earn less on our investments than we should. But all the wealthy people, they know all those tricks. They're doing it. So my job, my goal is to help people understand a lot of those different things that the wealthy use, so that we can use them for us. And I am one of those people. I am one of the average everyday people that I'm going out and helping. And it's a really great thing when I can sit there with an individual, a business, a family, and share information on what they don't likely know. And when all of a sudden you see that light bulb go off, that spark in their eye, that they get it, I've done my job, because now I've educated and now they can potentially live a better financial life than they were able to before.
Good, good. Um, is there a specific type of business or individual that you prefer working with?
We work with the ideal client or family is between 45 and 55 years old. Well, there's really two major areas. The first one is 45 to 55. And the reason for that is many of those people have young kids and have either not started to save for college or may already be using a vehicle that potentially is not the best for them, but that's what they were sold and that's all they know. They don't understand there are other options. So we give them options for college saving. Then those same people typically, and I was one of them, had older parents that I was taking care of. And while it's great to take care of your parents because they raise you, so you help them, but if you're spending all your time and money helping your parents, you're not taking care of yourself and your family financially. So we work with those people to help set up retirement plans, to help protect themselves in the emergency if something should happen, to pay the mortgage off, um, to take long-term care. So if you're taking care of your parents who did not plan correctly, in most cases, if you do plan correctly, then your kids will not have the same issues you have today with your parents. So it's a generational thing to try to break that cycle. That's really a lot of the individuals and families. Then from a small business perspective, many people work very hard, and my hope is that they're all successful, but they're living today. They're making money, they're paying their bills, they're living today. They're living a lifestyle, which again, they should have, and I'm happy for them. But what most businesses don't do, because again, they were never taught, is how do you plan for the future when you're no longer in the business and the income may not be there? So how do you maintain that same lifestyle, not just in retirement, because nobody knows how long retirement's going to be, but how do you plan for as long as you live? And that's what I specialize in, helping them live the same lifestyle as long as they live. So those are the two buckets, the 45 to 55 and the people owning businesses who are looking to sell and move into something else and now live the life they deserve because they're no longer working.
Right, that's everybody's dream, is to be financially free. And
Correct.
you're right, they just don't teach anything about finances in
Correct.
in the schools
And,
at all.
and then again, big companies don't want us to know. And I'll give you a prime example. We are all taught, starting at a very young age, I know I was, put money in a bank. It's safe. We'll give you 1%, 2%, whatever that small is. It's safe. You're fine. So here's a couple of things with that. Number one, if you consider the money is in a bank and supposedly it's safe, although I question that as well, the 1 or 2% that you're going to get does not necessarily even beat inflation. So you, in fact, are going broke slowly. The second thing that happens is, let's just say John puts $100 in a bank. Now, that same bank gives John a credit card. John doesn't pay his full balance on time for whatever reason, and they're going to charge you 25, 30%. But the money that they're fronting to pay the business that you paid, that's the same $100 you put in a bank. So explain something to me. They're giving you 1%, they're charging you 30% on your own money. Does that really make sense? But that's what the banks do every single day. They tell you, here's a credit card, charge all that you want. But guess what? We like you, John. We're going to say to you, pay us a minimum every month of $25, $50, $100. What they don't tell you is that 25, 50, or 100 may not even cover the interest that is due for that payment cycle. That means you now owe more and more and more. And the odds are you will never pay that credit card off. And they don't care about the $1,000 you charged because they know they're going to get a lot more interest for the rest of your life. And that's the way credit cards are ripping us off. And people don't even know it.
Yeah. And they've been there, figured that out. And that's why me and my wife do not use credit cards. We use debit cards.
You
Money's not
can use you
spent.
can use a credit card. It's okay. But my way of thinking says take a credit card because everything is based on credit scores and credit cards are a lot to do with that. So take a credit card, charge only what you must have, not what's a nice to have, but what you must have. And when the bill comes in the next month, pay the bill in full. So you never pay the interest charge, your credit rating goes up, and if you can, get a rewards card. A rewards card gives you points towards airlines, hotels, meals, rent-a-cars, whatever it gives you. So if you use that rewards card, you charge, you pay in full. You charge, you pay in full. So what you're getting is better credit rating, you pay zero interest, and you're getting points towards other things that you'll get for free. It's the best thing you can do is get a rewards card and pay it in full every month. But again, they don't tell you this stuff.
Yeah. And then you have some people that have a hard time paying it in full. And
Correct.
they're the ones that shouldn't be using the credit cards then.
Correct. And again, part of what I do is I work with people who get themselves into trouble and figure out a plan to help them get out of trouble. And there are various ways to do that. There is no one size fits all solution. Everybody's different, but that's one of the things I do is to help people get out of credit card debt.
Yeah, that's like me and my wife. We own rental properties, and one of the mortgage companies was giving us a hard time. And yeah, it's like rental properties go. People fall behind on their rent.
Yeah.
Trying to the mortgages doesn't always work out. And then they, after so many months of falling behind, they refuse to take payments from you. It just gets bigger and bigger, and then they decide to go with trying to foreclose on you. So your only alternative, unless you can find a private lender to work with, is to file bankruptcy to stop the foreclosure process.
Well,
And
bankruptcy is an option. Absolutely. And I did it. But understand it should not be your first option. Because if somebody, again, I'm using my experience for this. If you do, in fact, declare bankruptcy, there's all kinds of legal fees. It will take you 5 to 7 years to work your way out of it. In that 5 to 7 years, it's very hard to get credit. So everything you do has to be with cash. It's again, it is an option, but it should not be your first option. and you should explain, and I don't mean you, I'm talking general statement. You should definitely look at different options before you go that route.
Yeah, that's what we did. I had somebody that I was connected with on Lineable,
Mhm.
connected up with a private lender.
Mhm.
That was going okay. It was going to be 3 years interest only, a bridge loan with 20% interest.
Okay.
See, interest payment a month would have been a regular mortgage payment, anyways.
Right.
We did have somebody else we were working with for an exit strategy. A couple of months after it, what happened is we were supposed to have enough money coming out of the property that we could cover that high interest for a few months until we were able to use the exit strategy. What happened is that 20% interest, yeah, things came up and actually ate up all the extra money we were supposed to get. And then at the last minute, the exit strategy fell through.
So let me pose something here, John. I appreciate you sharing your story. And we can chat after this about your specifics. But do you have anything question-wise that can help the general audience that's watching this podcast?
Yeah, I get sidetracked. Sorry about
That's
that.
okay. No worries. No worries. We're just trying to bring you back.
um, so, what do you find is the best way for people to, um, when they're having problems, when their finances aren't where they should be? What's the best way you find to get them back on track with the finances?
Again, everybody's different. So some people, we start with credit cards. Well, actually, before even credit cards, we start with the generic budgeting. And what that really looks at is, what do you have as an income every month? And what do you have as expenses every month? And we need to look very carefully because you can't leave anything out. And what we found, as an example, is people spend a lot of money on Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts. They go out to eat almost every night. And again, I'm not saying it's wrong, but if a person or family finds that they're not having enough money at the end of the month, now take a look back and see where you're spending that money. Is this spending a nice to have, like a Starbucks, or is it a requirement, like putting dinner on the table? That's what people need to start with. Now, once you figure out and you really drill down and you find that there is not enough money left, then I work with people and we try to find them a source of additional income, because that may be the only way out. Another way that we help people is we look at their credit cards. What are your available lines of credit and how much are you charging? Because these days, a lot of people don't make enough money, so they're charging and living on credit cards every month. So now the question is, can you maybe apply for another credit card, take one card that has the highest interest rate, and roll that balance onto a lower rate credit card, so that when you make that monthly payment, more of it is principal, less of it is interest. Now, that's great, but part of just moving money around is part of moving money around. The other part of that is up here. Yeah, and I don't mean you, I'm saying it's a general statement. You have to get into a pattern mentally that I'm not going to use my card, or I'm only going to buy what's necessary not what's nice to have. So these are different examples between the budgeting, between the credit cards. We have people who are struggling and they go out and they buy or lease a car for $1,000 a month monthly payment. Is it really necessary to have that fancy car, or can you do something for $500 a month instead of $1,000 a month? These are things that people don't necessarily see because they're in the situation. Whereas I can step back and look from a higher perspective in and start asking the questions. That's the advantage. Again, there's no right or wrong. There's no one size fits all. Every situation is different. Some may have one area only to work on. Some may have multiple areas to work on. But that's where we come in. I can either meet people face to face, depending on where they live. I do most of my work on Zoom. I can work across all 50 states in the US, so that's not an issue. And the one thing I will also say is there is no cost for me to sit down and speak with anyone. None. My satisfaction is helping people to get back on the right track. If you like what I tell you and you need to use some outside services because you can't do it yourself, then those outside services pay me for my service. But for me to sit down with you, there is no fee out of your pocket to me. So it really makes sense to have that initial conversation of, where are you? Let's talk. If we get along, great. If we don't get along, that's okay too. I'm not going to force anybody's hand, twist anybody's arm. This is all about trying to educate and share information. And that's what I do. And I love it.
And if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
So my website is stevekentfs.com. And my email is steve@stevekentfs.com. That's the best way to get in touch with me.
Maybe Emily can pop that up on the screen if possible, Emily, or you can put it, she can put it into the chat for those that are listening
Okay.
live.
That's fair enough.
Let me see. Let me see if Kurt is sitting on the side and if he has any questions for you. I call him my co-host.
Ah,
He's the one who does the podcasts.
yes, I know Kurt from a past life.
Kurt, are you sitting on the side somewhere?
Ah, he's playing shy.
He usually does sit on the side if I have a guest.
No worries.
Bring him in if he has any questions to add in.
No worries.
So, think of what else to ask here. We're talking about college planning. People who have kids go to college in the
Okay.
future. How does that work?
Most people, because of the way it's marketed, most people from a college planning perspective are familiar with an IRS tax code called the 529, which most people are aware of. And I'm not saying it's a bad plan, but that's what most people are told. We have a plan, which is in IRS tax code 7702, which is proven to be more flexible, potentially better from a tax perspective, and is not tied to the market. So if the market goes down, your investment for college does not go down. So that's what we use instead of a 529. And we've been using it for a long time, and it's extremely successful for everyone that's used it.
Okay. How about if someone's interested in setting up like a retirement plan?
So a retirement plan, again, specific to the person, but what we do is we look again at a private complimentary discussion of where they are today, savings wise, where they want to be down the road, what are their goals, their dreams, their timelines. And then we devise a plan to help them get from where they are today to where they want to be. And that includes a number of different services and products. Again, everybody's different. It could include life insurance. It could include annuities. It could include long-term care. Again, everybody's different. But that's what we do, is it's customized. The other thing that we do that many other companies do not is we work, and I know this is a bad statement, but we work with anyone. There are companies out there who will not work with you unless you have $250,000, $500,000, $1 million in assets. And that may be great for that small segment of people. But for the 95% of everyone else, including me, who is not in that boat, who's going to help them? And that's us. We help everybody. I have Steve Kent Financial Services, part of Universal Wealth. That's the logo on my screen, on my backdrop. Great company. They do amazing things for people. And this is what we're doing, is going out there, giving people an opportunity to change their lives forever. And that's what we do. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Okay. I think that's about all I have.
Fair enough.
Emily, do you have any questions for Steve?
Um, I'm not sure at the moment. It's been a great conversation, though.
That's okay. Thank you. No, it's okay. If we're, if I've given the information, I've given you my contact info, and that's okay. Just if people have questions, comments, let them reach out to me. I'm easily accessible. I will return calls, typically same day, depending on when you call. Okay, it could be the next day, but I will call you within 24 hours, and we can have a conversation. All right, John, you're on mute.
Oops, I did that because there's background noise. Hey, it is Kurt. Kurt, any questions for Steve?
Hey, Kurt, how are you? You're on mute.
Yeah, I figured I would take John's lead and figure we're doing lip reading practice here.
You did a great job, by the way. Okay.
All right. All right. So, Steve, what took you so long to come back into my realm? It's been ages since we've seen each other.
Well, I met John in through Alignable, and that brought me back in.
Very
Yeah,
good.
it's been a
Well,
while.
it's living up to its name, very alignable, aligned us back together. All right.
It's true. It did. It did. Did a great job. Did a great job. Yeah. Hope all's well with you.
Oh, yeah. So, Steve, what's been the most amazing thing that, since you and I haven't seen each other for a while, what's the most amazing thing you can tell me to catch me up? What's been happening in the life of Steve Kent?
The life of Steve Kent. I found, I know this is going to sound really strange, and I don't mean it to be that way, but I found my calling. I love what I do. Universal Wealth is the company that I'm part of. They are out there to change the world. And the reason I decided to join that company is they have the same values that I have. They believe in helping people the same way I do. They have a system in place that is perfect for helping people walk through the steps a step at a time. It's just, to me, it's the company that deals with the average everyday person, and a lot of bigger companies don't want to. So we do, because everybody needs to learn what we have to tell them, and not enough people are being taught.
All right, very good. Boy, that's a good message, good lived experience, and boy, the way you described the company, I've never heard of Universal Wealth, so that's good marketing on your part. You've
Yep, yep.
brought your company
They're
out to the
based in
market.
Arizona. Yeah, they're based in Arizona. Great company, awesome company. You're going to hear a lot from us real soon.
All right, so that really gets us into the flair of this show. This show is Revolutionize Your Marketing, and you're gonna hear about us real soon. Fill us in, because it takes a great marketing plan,
Right.
and executing great marketing and having things happen to be like you're gonna be hearing a lot about universal, wealth, real soon. What's happening? What's the marketing that's making this happen?
They've hired a person to do their marketing and their social media, and they are posting daily across multiple platforms. And we are targeting the problems that people have today. We're not just saying, oh, you should do something. They're actually going out saying, this is a problem. If you have it, we can help you. That's a problem. If you have it, we can help you. And they're targeting the 95. Yes, we can help the wealthy, but we're also targeting the 95% of people that don't have the money, that don't have the fancy accountants and lawyers and everybody else that can give them the information. That's what we're doing, is going out, sharing the information on what people purposely have never been taught, because major corporations want to keep all the profit. So we're turning that around and giving people money back so that they can start to live their own dreams instead of somebody else's dream, which is their boss.
There you go. Well, that's fantastic, boy. The old American dream thing, it's like
It's
you're
not dead.
reinvigorating it.
Yep.
Nice.
The American dream is not dead. Not at all. We're resurrecting it.
Nice. So John, do you have any idea where Steve and I know each other from? Do you know the force that connected Kurt Roscoff with Steve Kent? Do you know about this, John? Or is this a good thing to cover in your show?
That I don't know. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's out of marketing.
Yeah,
Just to let
there
Steve has a call coming in about five
Steve.
minutes.
Yeah, I have about 5 minutes.
Oh, you got to leave in 5 minutes.
Yes, I
Well,
do. I have another call.
all right. Well, I'll make the response to that really short, and then once you're on to your other call, Steve, I can always revisit that another time. But it's the Happy Neighborhood Project, the happiest place in the world for business people. And Steve ran a meeting, H&P New York, and one of our favorite meetings of the Happy Neighborhood Project, Happy Business Networking, and
Mhm.
just like you experience on Alignable, Steve's
Yep.
one of those guys that he makes it happen.
Yep.
So he knows how to get professionals what they're looking for, and he did it
Mhm.
through
Yep. Yep.
H&P New York. Well done, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you. So it was a good time with HNP.
Yeah.
Yep.
So John, with the couple few minutes left, how do you want to, put that little signature flair with our friend here?
Well, Steve, why don't you give them your contact information again in case they missed it earlier?
Sure. It's Steve Kent FS.com is the website. And the email is steve@stevekentfs.com. And that's how to get in touch with me. Real easy.
There
And
you
I would
go.
recommend everybody out there get in touch with Steve Kent, because he will help you one way or another. He's kind of a fail-safe contact for me. I feel completely safe inviting the world to Steve Kent. So let's do it up.
Thank you, Kurt. Appreciate that.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
All right, good stuff. It's been a pleasure. I want to thank you guys both for the opportunity. I know it's a Friday, so enjoy the day, enjoy the weekend. And as we get closer into the holidays, have a safe one.
Will do. And Steve, make it a November to remember. Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I want you to be able to tell me the next time I see you, I want you to remember how November went, because that's where we'll pick up the next time I see you.
Sounds good. That works for
All
me.
right. There
You
we
got
go.
it.
We got our plan. Nice.
That's it.
Welcome.
All right.
You're welcome to come back and join us anytime you want, Steve.
Fair enough. Thank you, John. Thank you, Kurt. Appreciate it. Enjoy.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a great day.
Have a
Yep.
good one, Steve.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Too.
Here we go. Steve has hit the road.
So Steve Kent, revolutionize your wealth. There you go. So, all right. So my screen still shows we are connected on YouTube, revolutionizing YouTube with Revolutionize Your Marketing by John Petros Sr. So Emily, am I missing something? My screen shows we're still